Hi, I'm Anastasia Chatzka, a fashion designer with over 20 years of experience and a sewing educator. And I'm really excited you're here to share another sewing adventure with me today. Welcome to Sewing Anastasia, and today we are going to make a DIY Halloween costume out of supplies you have laying around the house. If you're not already a subscriber to Sewing Anastasia, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when all my new videos come out. I'm also doing something really cool right now, which are virtual sewing lessons. So you can pick your project, book your time with me, and I will help you with your project from my design studio to your sewing room. I also have in-person sewing lessons in my design studio here in Chicago, Illinois, socially distant and super safe. You can run info for all of that down below. Also, I want to see all of your projects, so make sure you DM me or tag me in all of your sewing projects. That way I can share it with everybody else in my stories or in my feed. We are going to turn all of this into this. Meow! Since we are all living this new socially distanced lifestyle, I wanted to create a project out of supplies you probably have laying around the house. Supplies for this project are going to be super simple. First, you're going to need a black face mask for the front of our cat costume. If you don't have a black face mask right now, no worries, you can totally make one. I have a separate video on how to make the face mask with a free pattern, and the link for that's going to be down below. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, mine are pink, of course. You're going to need some white paint. If you don't have any white paint laying around, you could totally use some nail polish as well. I'm also going to be using some pink paint for the nose on the cat mask. And if you're using paint, make sure you have a miniature paintbrush. You're also gonna need some black thread and a hand sewing needle, along with a 2-inch clear ruler, or if you don't have a ruler laying around, you could totally use the edge of a book. You're also going to need a headband for your cat ears. Wire is going to help your cat ears stand up straight. So grab some wire you have laying around. And you might be thinking, I don't have wire laying around. But you could totally take a hanger from the dry cleaner and cut this up and use it for the ears. You're also going to need some chalk. And if you're using the wire, perhaps some wire cutters. Also, you're going to need some black fabric for these cat ears. I'm going to be using 100% wool felt, but you could totally use a black sweatshirt fabric, some black denim. Think about any black clothes that you have laying around that you could totally upcycle into some cat ears. The first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and paint our face mask. So I want you to go ahead and put it on so that way we can chalk out where the nose and where the whiskers are gonna go. Now that I have my face mask on, I'm gonna grab my chalk and I'm gonna mark out where my nose is, the mouth, and the whiskers for the cat face. So I'm gonna use my handheld mirror here and go ahead and mark that. So I want my cat nose to be roughly here. I want my whiskers to be around here. And then the mouth is gonna come down and up. So this is just a rough idea of where I'm going to need to be painting. Next, I'm gonna paint the nose. So I'm gonna grab my pink paint. So because the face mask is shaped for the face, you're gonna need to take a t-shirt or something round and put it under the mask so that way you have a nice smooth surface to paint that's rounded. I'm going to be using a tailor's ham. Assuming you probably don't have one around the house, a t-shirt rolled up is gonna be a great option for you. I've got my mask on my tailor's ham. It's nice and laid out flat. I've got some paint on a piece of paper and my paintbrush. I'm ready to paint a nose. Let's go ahead and paint the shape of the nose for your cat that you would like. There we go. The nose is on and it looks super cute and pink. So now grab your white paint and we're gonna paint on the mouth and the whiskers. Now that I've finished painting the mask, I'm gonna set it aside and let it dry, and we're gonna create the ears. Next, grab your chalk, your ruler, and your black fabric so that way we can trace out some ears. I'm going to make my ears 3 inches wide and 4 inches high. So I'm going to draw a rectangle and then I'll make it into a triangle. So I want to put a mark at 1.5 inches because I know that's the center. And now we're going to take that center point and angle it down to the corner. And now I have a triangle for my cat ear. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out and use it as a template to cut 3 more out. So now I have my triangle drawn out with my chalk. I'm going to cut it out and use it as a template to cut out 3 more pieces. So now I have the 4 pieces cut out for my ears. Next, grab your wire and your wire clips. So I went ahead and I clipped my piece of wire. I made sure that it's actually a little bit shorter than the felt because we're gonna have to leave some room down here to sew the ear to the headband. So when I place it on top, you'll notice it's about 3/8 inch away from the hem, the bottom down here. So make sure your wire is not all the way down at the bottom. We wanna make sure that it's up a little bit. You're gonna wanna cut 2 of these, 1 for each ear. Now that we have both wires cut, it's time to sew our 4 pieces together. Now we wanna take our fabric and place it wrong sides together. So now we have 2 ears. And now what we wanna do is sew up the sides of the ear, but make sure you leave the bottoms of the ears open. So just sew up the sides of the triangle. Now grab your hand sewing needle and thread and let's sew these together. If you need help threading a needle and making a knot, you can reference my video on that and the link will be down below. Now that we have our needle threaded, you wanna start from the bottom, about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, and we're gonna create a whip stitch. So this is so easy. We're just gonna continually go from the bottom up and keep pulling it through. You can make your stitches 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch apart. So every time you go to stick the needle in the fabric, you can space the distance 1/8 to 1/4 inch apart. Okay, now we're getting towards the end. So you want to make a knot. So when you come up, don't pull all the way and take your needle and stick it through the loop. And I like to do this twice. So before you pull it all the way, take your needle and stick it through the loop and pull. And now you can go ahead and cut your thread. Now that you have one ear sewn up, go ahead and do the exact same thing to the other ear. Next, we're gonna go ahead and insert the wire into the ears to make them nice and stiff. Now let's go ahead and take these pieces of wire and insert them all the way up into the ear. And make sure when you're doing this that the wire isn't going all the way to the bottom edge of the fabric. We need the wire to start up a bit, about 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch, so that way we have room to sew it onto the headband. Now grab your headband and your hand sewing needle and we are gonna sew the ears to the headband. So what you need to do is decide the position of where you want your ears. And then we're going to flip our headband up and go ahead and sew these on the same way. The first thing we're gonna do is just whip stitch these on. So you're gonna go ahead and go around the headband with this whip stitch. This is how they're gonna stay in place. So line up the edge of the headband with the edge of the fabric for your ear. Holding it in place is a little tricky because we're working on a curve. So when you get to the end, don't forget to knot it. So when you're coming back and pulling it, don't pull your loop all the way and make sure you take your needle and put it through the loop. We don't want our kitty ears to fall off. And do that about 2 times and then you can go ahead and cut right next to your knot. So I've got the ear on and it's straight up in the air. So what we need to do is have it lay back flat like this. So we're going to do a couple more whip stitches and we're gonna do them right at the ends here. And it's gonna keep it up nice and straight when we're wearing it so that way it doesn't flip forward. So now that I have the ear in the position going straight up, I wanna go ahead and take my needle and push it through the side of the fabric. And I'm going to wrap it around the headband and just keep going through the fabric in a circle. I'm going to do this about 4 or 5 times. And then go ahead and make a knot. And then you'll notice how the ear is going to stand up straight. So now we need to do the exact same thing to the other side. Now that we have one ear on, let's go ahead and do the exact same thing to the other ear. Now that we have both cat ears sewn on, let's grab our white paint and paint little white triangles inside of them. Finish the cat ears, and they are so cute. Now let's go try on our face mask and ears and see how it turned out. I am masked up and all ready for a holiday Halloween adventure. Meow. I'm so excited to have a Halloween adventure in my new cat look. Plus, everything was made with items that I had laying around the house. That is so cool. And I feel super safe with my mask on. Thanks so much for watching Sew Anastasia today. I hope you had fun making a DIY cat mask and ears for a holiday costume. Best part, you have all these supplies laying around the house right now. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave it down below and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And always make sure you follow me on Instagram at Sew Anastasia, Facebook at Sew Anastasia, and all those other platforms that are fabulous with social media. And don't forget, I'm also teaching sewing classes in the studio that are socially distant and safe. Or you can take a virtual sewing class with me working on any project that you would like. So cool, right? If you're not already a subscriber to Sew Anastasia, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when all the new videos come out. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, give it a little applause, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!